Good morning, everyone.
What is that one?
I just want to get started out by saying, just acknowledging everyone in New England that's affected by the blizzard. A lot of people with no power, and we're thinking about you. My wife's going through it right now as well. Dog got stuck in the snow this morning, so just kind of acknowledging that, it's tough out there, and hoping that everyone's staying safe.
If you see this,
Piggybacking off of that, just want to thank Nancy Meyer, the logistical gymnastics that went into sending so many people from our organization here to the combine. Pretty remarkable what she was able to do. We actually ended up flying out a day and a half early to Detroit, drove down, but we're here. We're able to knock out some of the meetings that we had early, so it ended up being a good thing. But just wanted to open it up for any questions at this time.
last year I was in Walmart at stand-ups. All of your properties, these guys have weapons. I'm wondering, how important was that production with?
Yeah, I mean it was tremendously important. We're very excited about the draft class, and they're just getting started. They're still young. We were able to get some good minutes out of those guys, and that's a credit to Coach Vrabel and his staff getting those guys ready to play. And I think it's a tribute to them buying into the culture so quickly and understanding that what it means to be a Patriot, and we're excited about the progress that they've made moving forward.
Suddenly players and going into free agency to see I think that's a little bit of time because that's much more to keep them done. So many phones are
Yeah, I mean the safety position, like you said, they have to be able to do everything. They have to be able to play down in the box, man cover, tackle in space, and having guys that are interchangeable just kind of opens up a lot of different things for the defense that Zach Kerr and Terrell Williams can kind of employ. So we're excited about those guys. Obviously, Hawkins is a free agent, and he's earned the opportunity to see what's out there, but he's certainly someone that we would welcome back. Yeah, first thing you have to look at is communication is so underrated at that position. I think maybe a lot of fans don't understand that. Being able to communicate, set the defense, that's something that we talk to the coaching staffs in college about, and just making sure that anyone that comes in has to be able to communicate and be smart. But on the field, it's the athleticism, it's the change of direction, it's the speed and range, the anticipation that these guys play with are very important traits that we look for.
Eliot, now you've had 2 night off for I think a little while. Challenge go for what you guys are already finding these things to you guys on your right.
Yeah, I think you can look at that in two different ways. On one hand, maybe they're coming in a little bit more entitled, but on the other hand, they're coming in more prepared from a business standpoint. Like they've had money, they know what it's like, they know, some financial literacy and understanding the trials and tribulations that come with that. So I think it's a double-edged sword. It's like anything, you just have to be able to adjust, and every person can be different.
The way you ask a question could say, and no weird for it.
No, not really. I mean, we have a standard set of questions that we ask, and each formal interview that we have, we sort of tailor to the player that's in there. So each interview is not exactly the same, but if there's some questions and concerns that are raised about different things, we'll kind of press on that.
So risking actually so you staying on swing working offensive line things this when I do it since
I don't know if I'd look at it as risky. I think you have to do what's best for the football team, and with our best five out there, I think we won a lot of games. Obviously, the last game was not very productive, in a lot of areas on offense, and we're just excited that Will and Jared are made of the right stuff, and we're excited about what they're going to do moving forward.
how is that dog?
The dog is okay. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he's good.
Like, how would you best guy want to bring serious like draw? If you had like this guy, this is your page.
We're going to explore every avenue to try to improve the team. We filled a lot of needs last year, and we're still building. We have areas that maybe we feel good about the starters, but maybe the depth's not where we want it to be. We have areas where we maybe need to add a starter. So I think it's going to be sort of a holistic approach, and working together with Coach Vrabel and his staff and the scouting staff and Richard Miller and Matt Groh on the contract side, and we're going to try to build this thing to improve the team as best we can.
There's some guy that that's like
Again, I think we're going to try to do its best. It doesn't necessarily mean that we have to spend because Drake's on a rookie contract. We're going to again make decisions, both for the short and long term that we see as best moving forward.
nice and like it's like guys are still building. Yeah, so you're know this still is a rebuild for so maybe it's big Super Bowl. It's like they're on a 4-2 away now. Yeah, that
Yeah, I don't know that I'd call it a rebuild. I think we have a nice core of players. Whether that's a core of veteran players that we rely on, or some of the younger up and coming players like the rookies that were mentioned earlier. So again, I just think every year is an opportunity. Every year is different. Every year is an opportunity in free agency and the draft to improve the roster. And it's not just free agency in the draft. It's trades. It's waiver claims. It's restricted free agency. All those things. We're going to explore everything that we can.
you had any conversation to say that Ron Eliot they did change your call because of the muster. So
No, I'm really proud of our players. Again, they bought in quickly. They figured out how to win, but I think everyone on the roster is aware that we still need some pieces, and we're gonna create as much competition as we possibly can.
Eliot, have you had any conversations with the free players on your roster? Guys for accepting something?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into any specific details on any free agents for our team and obviously for other teams, but we have had conversations, and we had good exit meetings with those guys, and I think they understand where we're at.
Eliot, do you find yeah, we just send you on the route to this world.
I do. I wouldn't say I spend a ton of time on that. Richard Miller, who works in our research department, he puts together some pretty comprehensive mock draft analysis stuff that's really helpful, and it just kind of gives you an idea of maybe where the league sees a player.
How satisfied are you with the next flat? What's your that's the positive phase of this minute?
I mean, satisfied is a tremendous understatement. Drake made a ton of progress in a lot of areas. Not only at the start of the season but throughout the season. And I think people forget that he's 23 years old, and there's been a lot on his shoulders, and there will continue to be with the expectation that it has being a quarterback for the New England Patriots. But I'm just really excited about him, his toughness, his competitiveness. He's always the same guy. And there's obviously areas on the field that he's going to improve, and he's going to work with Coach McDaniels and Coach Grant and get those things taken care of. I think every year, I feel like every year for the last 5 years, everyone said, "Oh, it's not a good draft. It's not a good draft." Like I don't really buy that. I feel like if you're doing your job, you're going to be able to find players, rounds 1 through 7 that can help your team. Obviously, there's varying levels of that, but we still feel like we have enough team needs where we're going to be able to get good players that are going to help our team moving forward.
Was under pressure rises. I took back the station where Drake Allen also like like oil in the contact. Those.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple different points in there. I mean, continuity is tremendously important. We were actually fairly healthy on the offensive line this year, and I felt like those guys were able to gel and play well. And when Will specifically, when he came back from that injury, I personally didn't see the same level of lower body strength that you saw before the injury, and I think the film would attest to that. Like, he probably had 3 of his 4 worst games in the playoffs. But before that, I thought Will played really well all year. I know everyone talks about the arm length, but he has a set of skills that enable him to play with that arm length. He's really quick out of his stance. He's technically sound. He's adding more and more different pass sets to his tool bag that he can use to combat different rushes. And again, he's 22 years old, and we expect some improvement out of him as well. I'm not going to get into any specific players today. There are certain conversations that we're having, and we'll see what happens with everyone.
How much time for you?
I think that's probably a question better asked to him. I didn't feel that way. I just felt like we just couldn't get in a rhythm offensively.
Sport, but he said, yeah, given the way the college game changed, we got some that guy for not as
I mean, I know you're talking about college offenses, but I still think it's understanding what's inside of a person and trying to get to know them. The quarterback position is so difficult to play, not only in college but at our level as well. And when you're trying to identify, what makes a guy tick, what kind of leader is he going to be, how tough is he, how is he going to react in adverse situations, I still think that's the hardest thing to evaluate college to pro.
Triple, I know he's going to be it where it's a good time to it. Yeah, I guess you, as far as the rest of I do.
Yeah, I think you just have to make sure the information's consistent. Like if a player's at school A and you get certain information on him that's totally different from where he's at school B, then you really have to spend if the information's consistent throughout, then I think and you talk to him and it's the same thing, then you have a pretty good idea of what it's going to be.
You guys already have got a lot about it. Not have sent going to Dylan's get out full so really to let's spike out here. Yeah, some lady play access to down to the orange for it was a good actor for us in there, so that's good.
Yeah, I think just being able to affect the quarterback is tremendously important, whether that's from the interior or on the exterior. I know a lot of quarterbacks, talking to people throughout the league, a lot of quarterbacks actually, are more worried about the interior pressure because he can't step up. We're excited to have those guys, and not only them, but Kairos Tonga, who's a free agent, Corey Durden, and some of the other guys that we had that were playing in there that were able to provide that push. Yeah, John Eric Sullivan. He and I started with the Packers the same year in 2004. Have stayed close with him. Just really, really excited for his opportunity. A little bit disappointed that it's in our division, but I know he's excited for the opportunity, and I'm excited to try to be able to beat him twice a year.
When you talk to running backs, yeah, he was really good.
Yeah, I mean, he was there, so that was a really cool experience. Other than the outcome of the game, but I think he was very frustrated with the outcome of the game. But just kind of understanding, you got to get up the next day and keep working, and we're all aware that we have a lot of work to do. So that was helpful.
Quite for it's a lot of business on playing like now it's really big, but you see different level of that college offense, yeah, and you have things like that. Because that's like team
Talk about teaching demeanor.
need to finish it.
Yeah, I think you can. I think if it's in there, you can teach that. I think there's plenty of players, some that I can think of off the top of my head that kind of flash that, but they don't play that way all the time. And I just think that's a mindset, and I think you can get a little bit better with that with coaching. Now, if the guy's soft and passive, like maybe not, but we're always looking for guys that play hard and try to finish.
When you go play scout process, where some sort of traits that you like, you might enjoy it about sense.
I'm a big fan of guys that run hard, guys that can really hit the hole with force and burst through. I know there's a lot of different running styles, a lot of people that have different varying levels of success, but to me, the guys that can really attack the hole and put pressure on the defense are valuable.
Like campaigner kind of things like also it's like my radio. And I like just my like this for that how kind of value for the process for people they ask right now like it's back and it's management that all the process best in approach you get there.
Well, I mean that's a good question. I would just say too, like our coaching staff is pretty special. Like they're going to work with everyone. So whether it's the try hard guy that has the great play demeanor, or a guy that maybe we need a little bit more out of. Coach Vrabel and the staff do a tremendous job working with all those people. There's no one that's get pushed to the side. Like everyone gets coached the same. And I think, the level of improvement we saw with a lot of different players on our roster this year is indicative of that.
What do you think of the guys? I thought there are you in the show and how it's going like my team in the show.
Very confident. Again, I've said it before, like in free agency last year, and with some of the guys that were previously on the team, having the right mindset and having the real culture guys that carry Coach Vrabel's message is very important.
What do you think of these guys when this draft? Did they actually do no.
Yeah, I mean, I think this draft offers a lot of different depth at varying areas, edge being one of them. And I think it's a fairly deep class at that position. Like obviously an area of need for our team, so it matches up nicely. Yeah, I mean, it's a credit to Zach, how well the defense played, but also Terrell Williams was still there, and Vrabel obviously has some influence on that, but really the whole defensive staff worked collaboratively together, and came up with these game plans. I know Coach Booker in particular, and with the coverage plans and things like that. But I think it was really cool how the staff kind of rallied together when Terrell had to to leave for a little bit, and I thought it was a really cool show of like loyalty to the group that we were able to have the level of success that we have.
Two funny questions. That's something we can follow.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with Zach didn't know he was going to be the play caller until really the season started. So I think having more preparation time and maybe having lived through a season doing it and understanding what worked and what didn't work and when to spin the wheel with the blitz or play coverage or I think just with experience those things will improve.
The last question, elusive to get to this, how whatever reacted though. Yeah, how rewarding was it? How do you think that experience that in time? Well,
Yeah, I mean, personally, I mean, it's great, but personally, when the team has success, I often find myself being a lot more excited for the other people that are my teammates and the people that I work with. And to have played in that game and tasted it and not come out on the winning side of that, I think just motivates everybody to try to get back there and try to finish the job.
yeah, I never eat that.
Thank you.